Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Well, what did we expect yesterday? I sat and watched the collective assault on the Celtic fan base yesterday by the mainstream media. And what was really sad about it is some of the Celtic fan media Facebook pages and such like jumped on the bandwagon, saying that it was disgraceful that a Celtic fan would take a knife into a football match. Now, when you look at the picture, you can see that the guy's holding his hand like this. It's unbelievable that someone thinks that a member of the Celtic fan base would be able to put a knife over the shoulder of a serving police officer, several police officers, and wave it at a member of the board. It's absolutely ludicrous to think that that would have happened. And it tells you everything that you need to know about the Scottish mainstream media. And until you stop giving these people air to breathe, giving the mainstream media, I mean, I get people coming on the channel, it's not been on the news yet. Where are you getting your information from? It's not been on the news. It was all over the news yesterday. It was all over all the papers online. Disgraceful Celtic fans at it again, waving. It's disgusting. And do you know what saddened me the most yesterday about it? Is that it was the Celtic websites and Celtic Facebook pages and social media pages and hitting out at the Green Brigade. Now, I know that a lot of people don't like the Green Brigade. There are a lot of people that go to Celtic games don't like the Green Brigade. So be it. The Green Brigade don't like you. You know, the fans have a choice. But when you go onto a public forum stating that a picture is true in fact because you've seen it or you saw it on a mainstream media website. Yeah, no, the guy's there exactly. The guy's arms resting on the copper's shoulder. Do you think a copper's going to allow someone to put a knife past his shoulder and sit on his shoulder, wave it to the fucking Celtic board? Wake up and smell the coffee. Honestly, just wake up and smell the coffee. Anyway, and more Celtic news this morning. Here goes my coffee. Ah, the hand of God. She's working again. Good morning. Mm. Yeah, it's fine. It's lovely. Thank you. I'm trying not to let it go cold this morning, like happens on many a day. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see. Baz, these idiots put us and ask how you should put this question up. How did they get it through security into the ground? Yeah, you can get pyro into the ground. I'm not going to go down that road. The only reprehensible thing for sure is the support sat in Tannadice was with them chanting Nancy gets fuck. Why did fans go to game wearing a balaclava? Why did fans go around in the 1980s with scarves up to their face? I was a fan in the 1980s, mate. Stop this nonsense. Why did the fans wear a balaclava? You used to wear a woolly hat and a scarf up to your face like this in the 1980s. Stop picking on young guys going to the football. Because Celtic Daz done it just as bad in the 1980s. The casual era in the 1980s was far worse than anything that the Green Brigade do today. And if you don't think that, you just go and look at the papers for back in the day. I'm not accepting that one at all. Big Rab says the Celtic page you're on about is all making money. That's funded by big media. They're not the same podcast like the Trinity Tims. It's the same with the Trinity Tims. I think that the guys that are the Trinity Tims are fantastic guys, and they've written about Celtic for a long time. But then again, if they're banning people that don't agree with them, the 1980s and the winter bars, fuck off in the winter. No, they didn't, mate. I lived through the casual era. Do you know? I've seen guys getting kneecapped with baseball bats and stuff back in the 1980s. It's not nice. The modern day football fan makes the 1980s look fucking like World War II. Honestly, Jesus. Baz, I think these people need to get a grip. All Arsenal, no doubt. Let's move on from it anyway, because there's a bit of news concerning a Celtic player this morning that looks like he's finally going to be on his way out of Celtic. Birmingham, remember, put in an offer for Yang in the last window, and it looks like Yang is also set to be reignited. The whole transfer window is about to burst into flames when it comes to Celtic, and burst into flames in ways. I mean, all the news is talking about, oh yeah, Daizen Maida's decided to stay till the summer. He's playing Celtic like a flute, Daizen Maida. He knows that Celtic are in a perilous position of a serious lack of contenders as strikers up front. And Daizen Maida's just working his ticket. Yeah, I'll stay till the summer, till after the World Cup. After the World Cup, where it's played in July. So one morning in July, I was walking through the prairie. Daizen Maida says, I'm going to the World Cup, and then I'll move after the World Cup. That's too late for Celtic to get a replacement. You're talking about us being into the territory of then having to qualify for European campaign, whichever European campaign that may be. And Chris Sutton this morning also admitting the fact that Celtic could realistically finish third this season. I think we'll finish third. I think it will take us to finish fourth for us to get serious movement on the Celtic board, which takes us nicely into the next little part of the video. Yesterday, the Celtic Fans Collective put out a statement, as they do, regarding the nonsense that was online yesterday. The Celtic Fans Collective welcomes the departure of Peter Lawwell from Celtic Football Club. During his tenure, the club failed to progress in line with its resources, potential, and clearly expressed expectations and ambitions of its support. Change at boardroom level continues to be both inevitable and necessary. The notion that the fans have pursued a threatening campaign against Peter Lawwell and the board is baseless and part of a wider pattern of unsupported allegations being made against fans. Today, a newspaper story has even alleged that a supporter brandished a knife at board members during a match against Dundee United. Photographic evidence makes it clear that this allegation is completely unfounded. This stands as a ludicrous example of how eager some are to portray the campaign for change as a baying mob. The Celtic Fans Collective are committed to a peaceful and principled campaign of holding our board to account. Me, on the other hand, get to the front of the stadium and protest like fuck. Just that's my view on it. Just protest every day outside the stadium. Simple. I'm old school. The real story is that our club is in disarray both off and on the park. The Celtic board is responsible for the team's decline and for the growing discontent between the club's leadership and its supporters. The longer they remain in place, the more damage they will do to the club we all love. We call on all Celtic supporters to join us for an historic demonstration at 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 21st of December, ahead of the match against Aberdeen, to demand the resignations of Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay and Brian Wilson. We also call on fans to continue to hit the board in the pocket by supporting the Not Another Penny campaign on Sunday and in the run-up to Christmas. The Celtic supporters have a long storied history of organising collectively, often against overwhelming odds, to achieve great victories. This moment in our club's history calls for fans to unite once again and to send a crystal clear message to the current custodians: your time is up. One down, more to go. That's the Celtic Fans Collective statement from yesterday. Bringing light on the crazy allegation that so many jumped on. And it all it did was give the certain factions of the media an absolutely crazy time of negativity. The only twats I thought were casuals were the sheep, and the sad lot still think they are. Oh, mate, I can remember the Hibbies never in back in the day. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot more connected with it back in the day. Yeah, Hibbies were right up there. Hibbies were a top crew. Celtic soccer crew, not so much. Not so much. Slashing me are terrible. I hope we've moved on now from that thuggery. Jesus God. I wore a balaclava going to school in class in the 1960s. Nothing wrong with it. I still have one, and I am 67. And he's also got, he's also got his green beret. He's got his blackberry. Sorry, he's got his blackberry, and he's a sniper from the Ra. Okay. I didn't particularly like the game myself, but it's out of order the consistent attack on them by the board. Now, there's a question that I liked that I've seen being asked: is it an attack on the fans, or is it an attack on the Green Brigade? And I think that's a question that I would like to ask a few people actually. And I was sitting thinking about some content about trying to interview some people, but whether or not they would come on this channel is a completely different thing. Because I don't think that this is a channel that they would like to associate with themselves with. But never mind, who cares, isn't it? I'm not in the in crowd, as they say. But we move on to the Celtic news. Chris Sutton says, I can't believe I'm saying this about Wilfred Nancy. With smart money on Celtic finishing third this season, it's been a disastrous start for Wilfred Nancy. But like myself, Chris Sutton thinks it could get a lot worse for Celtic fans. I think we need it. Personally, I think that we need it to get worse to get change. I've spoke about the reasons why. I think that we need it to get worse to get change. But will the Celtic fans be willing to do that? That's the big question. Or will they be willing and prepared for having been so dominant over the last 25 years? Just reading some of the comments, you're all mad. Santa might not be worried about coming to Celtic Park this year because he's not got any gifts to bear in the fruits of his labours on Christmas this year. Remember, it was just a few years ago that Santa got booed at Christmas, and then he came to give us the trophy at the end of the season. Chris Sutton says there's absolutely no chance that Celtic are going to win the title this season. Could Wilfred Nancy turn that around? That's the big thing. He's got 2 games, seemingly, to convince the board that he is the man for the job going forward. And we'll talk about the game in a couple of minutes. But if Wilfred Nancy makes it 5 in a row against Aberdeen, his position will become so untenable that I would hate to think of the atmosphere. It's if we get beat at Celtic Park by Aberdeen this weekend, Aberdeen who have been struggling all season, never mind people leaving early. If people do leave early in the game, I hope that they do head round to the front of the stadium. Now, obviously, there will be a big police presence at the front of the stadium, as always happens when Celtic get a bad result, as we've seen after the weekend. Santa says droopy empty. Sure. But anyway, let's talk about the Celtic team and the fact that if the likes of Yang is to leave the club, where does that leave Celtic with wingers? I think that Yang will be well within his right. If Birmingham City do come back in, there are believed to be other clubs that are still looking. They offered 3 million for Celtic, only for the deal to collapse. He would be well within his right to, if a club does come back in for him in the next window, to say, look, I'm off. I'm off. I don't need this. Don't need this in my life. All this negativity, man. It's just so hard to deal with. It's fucking brain numbing. But anyway, will the likes of he leave the club? And if they do, Celtic are in a bit of trouble because it leaves us with Mikael Ange Balak-Wisha. It leaves us. Sebastian Tenet is not going to be here because he's off till God knows when, isn't he? He's away to the African Nations Cup or some sort, and it leaves us very, very short in certain positions. I don't even want to look at the team. The team's a nightmare. I wonder what team the manager will put out this weekend. Anyway, tell me your thoughts on the. Every time I see the picture, I'm just like, unbelievable. I mean, there is the clearest. We all know where the picture came from, and it came from a it came from a photographer that has been going to that is official Celtic photographer. He has his own website and he's put out Celtic stuff for as long as I can remember. I can remember when he put out the pictures of the Green Brigade walking back in after a sabbatical down at the Celtic supporters club. I mean, the fact that Police Scotland seemingly said that they're going to investigate it made it even worse. The fact that Police Scotland put out said, "We are aware of an image circulating on social media that appears to show a supporter at the Dundee United game on Wednesday, the 17th of December, holding a bladed weapon. Inquiries are ongoing. We are working with both clubs to identify the individual." He's got his arms on the he's got his arm on the policeman. That's what makes it even more bizarre. I mean, I'm going to get the picture on screen, right? And I mean, we've got to show the ludicrousy of this thing. It's just heads should roll at the paper for misinformation, but they won't because we all know that the agenda is there to. I mean, here's the picture here. I mean, there's the fan. Phil's got his fat, and it looks when you look at it, you could say, "Yeah, that's a knife, mate. Come on, that's a knife." But then when you enlarge it even more, it's like, where is the knife? It's like, come on. That's actually blurred it because I've had to increase the size of it. But you could see that's not the best picture actually. But anyway, you could clearly see when you get a good look at a decent unenlarged picture, that the board members have no concerns, and definitely the police that are standing around the fans have no concerns that someone's just waved a knife over the shoulder of a copper. Instead of Tisdale being on holiday, he should be here. He should be here saying we have players ready to come in on the open day of the transfer window. I think the fact that yeah, I know, Scott. It's this man's belt. It's when you look at it, you can see it's his belt, and it's the holder for his handcuffs. But either way, it's absolutely bonkers to think that a policeman would allow someone to wave a knife in front of him. Come on, we all know that that's not going to happen. Anyway, right, Tisdale being on holiday. People talking about that. Instead of Tisdale being on holiday, he should be here. I think it's better that Tisdale's on holiday just now because if he goes on holiday in January, everybody will be in complete meltdown. People are entitled to holidays at Celtic as employees. So, come on, mate. There's not a lot can be done with transfers at this time of the window. The transfer window's not open yet. All that you're going to do is you're going to basically sound out agents. You know, and it kind of happens quite quick. You can't go on. You can't be poaching up players at this time of year. The transfer window's nowhere near it. D-Boy says, Baz, who in the right mind leans over a copper screaming abuse at someone? Absolute insanity. As long as there was no offence committed, to know people have the right to protest. Are you now saying that people don't have the right to protest at the board? That's the only question I'm asking. That I'm all for protesting. I grew up with my family protesting, and getting into physical scuffles with the coppers back in the 1980s during the miners' strike. So, people are entitled to protest in whatever way they seem necessary, as long as there's no offence being committed, which there wasn't any offence being committed. I'm not aware of anyone being arrested at the game that day. So, I don't think it's insanity. I think that it's very toxic. That's one thing for sure. It is very toxic. Is VAR looking at the picture and saying it's a knife? Yeah, of course it is. Was that a clip from Scream? The film. I think it would have been it. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do this morning. It is Saturday morning. We'll wait and see what fantastic results come in today. When you look at the SPFL today, it's going to be fantastic, isn't it? Celtic play tomorrow, 3:00, and when you look at the fixtures today, we have 3:00 kickoff, Dundee United versus Hibernian. Hibernian will be wanting to try and win that. Dundee United will be trying to win it as well. Kilmarnock versus Falkirk. Tidy game. Motherwell versus Dundee. Now, that's a good one for Motherwell because they'll be wanting to try and close the gap also. And then St Mirren versus Livingston. St Mirren will be on a high, obviously, after winning the Cup last weekend. I believe their manager's going to make some changes. And then the big games are tomorrow. Heart of Midlothian versus Rangers. By the time that happens, either Rangers could be on the same points as Celtic, or Hearts may have increased their lead at the top of the table. Celtic take on Aberdeen later in the afternoon, a 3:00 kickoff, Celtic Park time. When you look at the league table and you look at the possibilities of what may happen today, I think Motherwell will be the one to watch. Motherwell will want to try and close the gap or even overtake Rangers. They are a game in front of Rangers. They will want to overtake Hibernian. They will want to try and beat Dundee United to try and close the gap also on Rangers. But then we've got the whole Aberdeen, and it's going to make it tidy in the top six. It's not quite competitive yet because Heart of Midlothian are away at the top of the table. Can Rangers beat Hearts? Will Hearts lie down to Rangers like they have done on many, 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 many occasions over the years? It's going to be an interesting one. I will do a live at 4:40 this afternoon to see the results coming in and see the changes on the table to see how much pressure Celtic will be in tomorrow afternoon. Because there's one thing for sure. Come the end of the results tomorrow afternoon, Wilfred Nancy will have to have won his game. If he doesn't win this game, his coat is more than just on a sugary peg. Yes, the board decided to give him 2 more games or whatever. They've said that they're backing the manager. They have given him that almighty vote of confidence. A vote of confidence. Unbelievable. Celtic and the Huns to get beat tomorrow. Putting a tenner on it. Hearts 2-1 tomorrow. Conference League next season for Celtic. Yeah, I think it will be, won't it? Yeah, but anyway, there's an interesting comment. You'll get the last comment. James, I don't see what the issue is with the Green Brigades. We all know the tifos they did in the stadium wide and the atmosphere they bring is more noticeable now that they've been banned. It is. And look, just go back to this channel and you'll see videos from 15 years ago on this channel for the Green Brigade tifos that they've done. They've done fantastic things over the years. They've done some not fantastic things. But without them, Celtic Park is basically dead. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.